Evolution of Fortnite shotguns. Let's take a look.
Fortnite shotgun meta has bounced from amazing to good to primal and everything in between, but it all started somewhere humble. Fortnite Battle Royale was released on the 26th of September 2017 in patch 1.6, and it dropped with two simple weapons: the tactical shotgun, which was originally named the semi-auto shotgun in uncommon to epic rarities, and then the pump in common to uncommon. The meta this season was relatively simple. Everyone was dog shit. Because of this, there was no meta. Simply pick up any weapons that you could find, hope and pray you hit the shots, and get the epic victory royale.
Let's go! Let's go! I got him! Let's go!
Month after the game's release, the first season actually started on the 25th of October 2017. They made a huge error in this update, however, accidentally removing the damage drop-off on the shotguns. This got patched a week later. The next game-changing patch came in Chapter 1 Season 3, where the pump was increased from grey to green to blue, and the tactical was demoted from green to purple to grey to blue. The colors changed, the stats just stayed exactly the same. We did see the addition of the heavy shotgun, which people have a fond memory of, but we all know that shotgun is some straight cheeks. This thing literally either hit 8 or max damage. There was no in between. What? It would appear that some balance changes were in order.
Oh!
That's not what I meant. So yeah, in Season 5, they doubled the pellets that the heavy shotgun had, but forgot to half the damage. So for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, the heavy shotgun was doing about 300 to 400 damage on a max headshot. After that, it was made much more consistent with the more pellets that it had, having 10 rather than 5. I did jump the gun a bit though, because back in Season 4, the pump had to be altered as well. The pump body shots damage went down from 90 and 95 on the green and blue respectively to 80 and 85, and the headshot multiplier changed from 2.5 to 2 times. This meant that the max damages on the pumps went from 225 and 237 down to 160 and 170, and you were no longer able to one pump with these two weapons. It's kind of crazy to sit and think that before Chapter 1 Season 4, many years ago, you could pick up a green and blue pump and do 225 or 237 damage with a max headshot. The version 5 patch that I talked about earlier, which adjusted the heavy shotgun pellets, also had a bunch of other changes. It added the double barrel shotgun in epic and legendary form. There was now an indicator of the pellets on screen and how many hit. The shotgun spreads overall had become more consistent with no random variation, which were all very good changes, but every light has its shadow. The double pump was removed. For anyone unaware, when you shot one shotgun shot, it was actually faster to switch to another shotgun in a different inventory rather than waiting for the cooldown between shots. This being removed did upset a lot of players at the time. The pain of losing the double pump sucked, but it didn't last that long.
Oh my god, look at it!
It's adorable.
Oh my god.
Not only was the purple and gold variants put into the game, the base variants of the green and the blue were also buffed up to 90 and 100 damage respectively. This meant that the blue, purple, and gold could all hit a one pump. This was the shotgun damage in meta that a lot of players fell in love with around Season 6 till 8, and what is often remembered as some of the fondest times in the game. Would this actually be balanced now? Probably not, but at the time, it was loved. Still more enjoyable than most shotgun metas we've had. There wasn't that many changes in the following seasons, in Season 7 removing the heavy shotgun and the double barrel, but it seemed like everyone was content with the shotgun meta. The community, obviously wasn't happy. The combat shotgun had been in to replace the pump. The drum gun was still in the game alongside the tac, which at the time a lot of the players wanted to vault already. Everyone pretty much universally hated the combat shotgun on its arrival, but that mainly was because it was so bugged. There was a patch a couple of days later to fix this to actually give the consistent damage, and at this point it's when people started to realize how strong the shotgun truly was. In version 9.3, the pump shotgun was added back in, unfortunately also with the drum shotgun. However, the issue with this was that it was only in green and blue form, meaning that the combat shotgun destroyed it at every single range. See, the way that the combat shotgun worked is that even 3 to 4 tiles, it was still very effective. By the way, Flam, this guy was ahead of the time making videos like this a couple of years ago, meaning at most ranges, it was just outclassed. This is actually one of the issues that the combat shotgun really has, is that it's just better than almost every single close to mid-range weapon, making it the meta. But then if you make it too weak, then it's completely useless in all of these ranges, and it's very, very difficult to balance this, given it has the fast fire rate and the long distance. So basically, the Season 9 meta in terms of shotguns was all about combat. Until they added the purple and gold variants of the tactical shotgun, two of my least favorite weapons, and I'm not saying because they're bad, but actually just because they're too good. On release, the gold did 196 max headshot, 196 for attack. These two variants reload quickly, have high damage output, and do a ton of structure damage too, meaning that you can just stand at walls and just take shots endlessly and have a pretty brain dead way of fighting. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of this weapon, is just because it promotes a very unhealthy way of fighting. The Season X meta for the shotgun stayed pretty much the same because, I mean, everyone was distracted with something else. However, there was one spot on the map which was a particular cause for interest for myself. Tilted Town. If you don't remember, this was a rift zone where you couldn't build at all, and at the time I actually managed to get my best placement ever in 2 solo cash cups, a 78th in a solo cash cup and 140 or something like that in another one. This is because you could just use the pump shotgun here with no one able to build, have legacy aim assist, hold some right hand peeks. There was also the reintroduction of the double barrel shotgun here. I actually want to talk about this cash cup in particular in a couple of videos, but I haven't been able to for a while. But there you go, I did well in a tournament, and it was because of this horrible draw swap. With the new chapter of Chapter 2 Season 1, they also did a similar thing that they did in the first chapter and reset the loophole. So for this, they just had every variation of the pump and also the tactical shotgun. And this remained the same for the first 2 seasons. Until Season 3, when obviously they devolved the pump again, and everyone wasn't very happy. This was the first season where they implemented the charge shotgun, which I do like, but its initial interpretation was not that great. Throughout the first 2 patches of this, it only had 3 shots in the chamber in every single rarity, but it still chunked huge damage. And we can't forget that the kit's charge shotgun was also here, which had a max damage of 229 when fully charged. Despite the charge not being in this, I actually really enjoyed this season overall. And despite the clunkiness, I do actually like the charge shotgun. I just like it better when the pump's also there. In Chapter 2 Season 4, the pump was unvaulted, and you could no longer find charge shotguns on floor or chest loot. However, you could side grade the pump into the charge, which literally nobody did this season, and it was vaulted in 14.40. I mean, if you've got Stark loot, you've got a lot of these vaults, you're not going to be taking a charge shotgun, you're going to be taking a purple pump, let's be real. The majority of the seasons, the meta has been relatively similar throughout
I missed
chapters,
that season.
but in Chapter 2, Season 5, things just got turned upside down. The pump
Wasn't
was
able to
vaulted
play it.
yet again. Like, come on, you gotta stop doing my boy so bad here. But instead, the meta that we had the tactical shotgun, the Dragon's Breath, a new shotgun, the lever action shotgun, again a new shotgun, and the charge shotgun, which also managed to get a buff to all of the magazine sizes, meaning that it was way more usable in the lower rarities. Now, the main shotgun that players were running was the charge shotgun because it just had a higher damage output, but there was a lot of maneuverability for a bunch of other weapons. Like if you were a box diver, the lever shotgun was probably more of your thing, especially if you were a controller player. Similarly, on the low ground, guys like Scented Commandment and Edgy loved to use the Dragon's Breath shotgun because with one hit, you could easily hit a 1-pump and it would cause a ton of fire damage. The tactical shotgun again had its uses because you could also go up to the purple and gold variations, meaning it could be a very powerful box fighting gun like I mentioned previously. So the meta was definitely balanced with lots of options. However, everyone definitely missed the good old pump. Alright, let's be real. Chapter 2 Season 6, worst shotgun meta hands down from every single season. This season, you basically had the makeshift shotgun, which you could craft into either a pump shotgun or a primal shotgun. The primal shotgun was incredibly busted, then they nerfed it, then it was rubbish. The makeshift was rubbish, and the pump was amazing, but you had a very awkward way of getting it with low accessibility. If you've ever watched any of my videos about this season, you know I am absolutely hands down not a fan of the primal season whatsoever. One of the quirky things about this season was the fact that the dub was in. It actually was implemented in the previous season in Chapter 2 Season 5. However, it was basically unused. Guys like Cammy ended up using this big time in solo cash cups and also in the FNCS, unfortunately not that successfully, but very successfully in the solo cash cups, which basically was a double-barreled shotgun, which basically had a knockback effect like the flint knock, which would send you very far. So there were some interesting rotational strategies used by that in the end game. However, if you crouched with it, you wouldn't have this knockback effect, and you can actually use it like a double pump instead. So there's some really cool utilizations for this, and even though it was very difficult to get in a tournament because of the gold requirements, it was still possible and added a little bit of depth to some of the games when the primal meta was really bad. ended up getting vaulted, but at least it caused some interesting strategies that we could look at in the earlier half of the season. There have been a lot of pointless changes in my opinion when it comes to the shotgun meta, and Chapter 2 Season 7 saw what I would describe as potentially the most redundant option ever in a game. There were 3 shotguns which spawned on floor spawns. This would be the tactical shotgun, the pump shotgun, and the charge shotgun. Now with the charge and also the pump, you could craft these into a lever shotgun. Now this was basically weakening the damage from both of these shotguns, and absolutely no one outside of Nick A30 used this option. Crafting either a pump or a charge to the lever shotgun just gave you a weaker shotgun. It had a little bit of an increased fire rate, but it in no way matched the damage capabilities of either of these two. Definitely one of my favorite metas because in all honesty, pump charge is what I think is the most balanced. And the final season of Chapter 2 Season 8 saw a little bit more of a switch round, which made more sense when it came to crafting, which was now that the lever was available on floor spawns alongside the pump shotgun, only these two as the tactical was vaulted, you could then craft either of these into a charge. Now this made sense because you're increasing the power of the lever to a charged shotgun. Similarly, if you had a pump, a lot of players in trios in endgames would opt to use the charged shotgun, like Tragics for example, who in endgame would craft a pump into a charged shotgun because it has that little bit higher damage output, and if you use it right, can actually easily get you more eliminations. See, this makes sense. You're going from a weaker gun to a potentially more powerful gun, not the other way around like in Chapter 2 Season 7. In Chapter 3, everything definitely started fresh, similarly to the previous chapter, but this time Epic got rid of every single shotgun that we previously know and replaced them. They've added 2 new ones, the striker pump and also the auto shotgun.
I like the auto.
The auto shotgun is basically the tactical shotgun, and the striker pump is a new variation of the pump shotgun, which is a little bit slower but also does less damage. Now if you've watched my videos, you know I've already done a video covering this meta and the shotguns here, but with the auto shotgun, it has now the same stats pretty much as the tactical shotgun, outside of the purple and gold variants no longer doing the 75 damage to structures, meaning that you can't wall replace as easily with it, which I think is a very balanced change. And the striker pump now has a more accurate reticule, with the rate of fire being increased a little bit, still slower than the pump. This means that it can hit consistent chunk damage, just not a 200 pump. I actually think that this meta is relatively well balanced, but the biggest issue with this season so far is the fact that the spray weapons are just so powerful, it almost makes it pointless to use these shotguns. The shotgun metas of Fortnite truly have gone through every single variation you could think of. Let me know what your favorite one is though.
Hope you guys enjoyed that video of me reacting to the evolution of Fortnite shotguns. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next adventure.